Good morning. The current time is 3 a.m. for our update. We are tracking some freezing rain now moving closer into the city of Houston. We have already received confirmed reports of freezing rain actually moving into the Tomball area. And like so, those temperatures have fallen to freezing out in Tomball, 32 in Conroe, Brenham at 28. 28.9 in College Station. Closer to Houston, Bush Airport is still at 34 degrees. That's still 2 degrees above freezing. So we're still seeing everything that's falling in Houston proper falling as rain at the moment. However, just to the northwest of town, not too far away, we are seeing those freezing temperatures starting to move on into portions of northern Harris County. And so if you are in the Tomball area, just keep in mind that we are going to start seeing those overpasses and bridges start icing over as we go into the next hour or so. So expecting those conditions to remain mostly a bit on the more colder side for the next few days, but as we look at the situation right now, I'm going to go ahead and give you a closer look to the Tomball area. But we are looking at, you're able to see where that freeze line is currently right now. So we're at 34 at Bush. We have actually a thunderstorm moving through the northern portions of Houston, but we're still above freezing. But as you take a look just to the northwest out at Tomball, 32 degrees. That's at Hooks Airport, and they are already starting to report that that rain switching over to the freezing rain. And so when we talk about freezing rain, it's falling in the sky as a liquid, but once it makes contact with any surface, it freezes over, and that really does contribute to higher ice accumulations, and that's when we're expecting to see. So areas along the Grand Parkway, this does include 290 heading out towards Cypress. You're going to start seeing some hazardous conditions when it comes to travel. You don't want to be in those areas currently right now. Of course, we have the urban heat island effect, which really does keep the city of Houston a little bit warmer. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this little station right here out in the central portions of town. We have actually just dropped to 32 out in the central portions of the Houston area, according to this observation site that's closer to downtown. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some of that rain turning over to freezing rain here in the next 30 minutes to an hour. And so I think for the most part, our timing has been pretty spot on from what we've been saying. Around now, 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. is when we're going to see the higher amounts of this precipitation, and this is going to last at least through 5 to 6 a.m. And so as we look at the forecast right now, we are expecting it to continue through the next several hours. Temps are going to continue to fall just a bit here across the city of Houston and across our northern areas. So I can only imagine that we are going to start seeing some of those elevated bridges and overpasses within the next hour or so start becoming a little sketchy and dicey. And then as we get closer towards 7 to 8 o'clock, we will start seeing most of that precipitation ending for the most part, but we will be around freezing. So anything that has fallen will have the opportunity to freeze over, especially as we head into the later morning hours. We will be above freezing just briefly as we head towards the noon hour, but just one of the things that if you are up watching in this hour, just keep in mind that just keep your mobile devices charged. You're going to want to stay off the roads when it comes to today, especially as we go through Sunday. And if you haven't already, you want to protect those exposed pipes because we are expecting the colder of these temps to arrive in the early hours of Monday. So as we look at the situation right now, we are expecting it to be wintry precipitation at least through 6 a.m., but we will get above freezing at least by 2 to 4 p.m. This is for the latter half of today. So winter storm warning still in place for much of the Houston area, and that is going to be it through 6 a.m. on today. But we are expecting it to still continue to see more of the elevated ice threat for areas north of Houston. This does include Huntsville, Livingston, portions of San Jacinto, Polk, and Walker counties, but this doesn't mean that we cannot see some possible ice problems here in the city of Houston. But we are expecting it to also be extremely cold out there in terms of the feels like temps. So feels like temps ranging between 5 and 15 degrees, and the worst of the cold conditions is going to happen during the early hours of Monday. This is looking at what's going on across the state of Texas. We are looking at some widespread problems out towards Austin, even San Antonio, seeing more so of this thunder sleet, as we've been calling it, because when you have sleet conditions that are currently happening, you're able to see those lightning strikes that are happening along I-10. That is actually a rather sleet storm, as you might say, and that's actually a pretty rare occurrence according to what we've seen when it comes to these winter weather events. You really don't get the lightning with this going into, we usually just have more of a light accumulation, but once we have the lightning involved, that's a little bit of a rare occurrence as we head into the next couple of hours. But areas west of Houston likely to see more of those problems, especially out towards Columbus and towards San Antonio. Austin, we are seeing a mixture between sleet and snow. So I-35, I-45 going north towards Dallas, enduring quite a bit of precipitation right now. So this is the time where things are going to start looking dicey in terms of the travel concerns, not only for us here in Houston, but for also across the state of Texas. We're already seeing most major highways and highway corridors to be impacted by that as we go into the next couple of hours. So as we look at the current ice accumulations to come from this point forward, we could get close to 1/10 of an inch out in Huntsville, but just keep in mind that it doesn't take much to cause those dangerous travel conditions, especially as we are going to see more of the higher ice accumulations north of I-10, even west of downtown Houston. But Montgomery likely to see more close to 1/10 of an inch, the Woodlands 0.06. So it doesn't take much to cause dangerous travel concerns, but we are expecting it to see more of those higher ice accumulations north of town as we go into the next few hours. And so wind chill factor as well is going to be extremely cold out there. It's going to feel like the teens, especially as we head into the early Monday morning hours. So you want to bundle up and not really be exposed to these elements, because that's how cold it's going to feel like, or that's how cold it actually feels like right now as we head into the next few days. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some live cameras across the Houston area. This is looking over the Galleria area currently right now, and we are looking at some showers, mostly clear conditions. We're not looking at any rain or precipitation falling here across the central portions of town. But as we look at the temperatures, we're just 2 degrees above freezing right at Bush Airport. So if that falls to 32 degrees, that is going to really bring the risk for some of that rain to switch over to the freezing rain, and that is going to cause some issues on some roadways. This is actually looking at I-10 to the west of Houston. This is really kind of hard to see. This is, of course, it's in the middle of the night. That car was going by pretty fast there, but looks like they're going by with no issues at all. But there's a little bit of a glimmer or a shine on those on that highway, and you're able to see that steam that's currently off the roads. But I would only imagine that we're seeing more of those higher sleet accumulations out towards the west of Houston as we progress throughout the morning. But no issues right now on I-10 west of Houston. We don't see that on this camera from the Houston TransStar, but I can only imagine that they are looking at more so of this higher accumulations, especially out towards the west. You're able to see that move into portions of Katy. So right now, this is looking at radar scans as well as the temperatures within the last few hours. This is the last 2 hours, in fact, but we're able to see right now that we have just reached 32 degrees in Tomball, and we've already received confirmed reports out at Hooks Airport that from the National Weather Service that they have been reporting some freezing rain already happening out in the Tomball area. So this is actually going to be impacting the Grand Parkway. You have the major highways that are going through northwestern Harris County. I know there's a big overpass over 249 onto the Grand Parkway, as well as on I-290 going in the Cypress area. And so where you're seeing the pink colors, that is where you're able to see that ice accumulation possible more so as we go into the next hour or so. So 32 degrees in Tomball. We're just 2 degrees above freezing out at Bush Airport. We have some rain and we have some thunder going on the northern portions of the city, but those freezing temps not too far away from the Houston area, especially just to the northwest of town. We're also able to see some of that rain turning over to freezing rain out towards the 249 and the Sam Houston Tollway. So I would imagine that we're going to see more of these temperatures fall throughout the next 30 minutes to an hour to that freezing point. And as you see here, it's 32 degrees is that magic number, and you're able to see that on radar right now of those of this precipitation turning over to the freezing rain that we've been talking about. And of course, we're still at 34 at Bush, and you're able to see that rain falling. But this is some heavy precipitation that's going on right now. And so I think for the most part is that as we head into the next hour, we're going to start seeing that freezing precipitation shift slowly closer towards the city of Houston as we progress throughout the morning. I'm going to go ahead and take a look across western areas of town. We're seeing some of those temperatures getting down to about 32 out towards the central portions of downtown. Of course, Brenham, College Station, they're in the upper 20s. 20s. I could only imagine that traveling in that area is it's probably impossible right now because they're dealing with widespread precipitation, temperatures in the 20s out towards College Station and Bryan. And that is definitely not good conditions when it comes to the roadways or the bridges or overpasses out towards just to the northwest and west of the Houston area. So our atmosphere, we're fighting with the Gulf. All the moisture that's keeping us a little bit warm, that is what's happening right now here for us here across Houston. We're just on that borderline where freezing temperatures are and where it's not freezing. And so we're in that special place in the geographical area, which really is causing those temps to really continue to cause the precipitation to fall as rain, but it's just not that far away. We have already seen reports of that freezing rain moving into northwestern Harris County out towards the Tomball area, and I can only imagine we're going to see more of those conditions become a little bit colder as we head into the next 30 minutes to an hour. So we're just at 34 at Bush Airport. There's some lightning going on to the northwest of Houston, in the northwest side of town, and just keep in mind that once we hit that 34, any rain that has fallen currently right now, it's going to remain wet out there, and we will start seeing those elevated bridges and overpasses start freezing over in some of those locations, especially as we get higher in the atmosphere for all of those elevated surfaces here across the Houston area. So once again, we're going to go ahead and show you the future track of what we're expecting to see. We do have the anticipation of these temperatures to continue to fall to about freezing here for the city of Houston, especially out at Bush Airport. We will see more so of this precip continue at least through the 6 o'clock hour. And so we're just not out of the woods yet when it comes to those hazardous travel concerns. And then once we get closer towards 6 to 7 o'clock, we will see the precipitation end. All of that's going to be shifting off to the west. We will see those temps still remain about freezing here across the Houston area, but we do have that rain that is causing some issues for us currently right now. So the only potential is for the rain that is falling right now that could potentially freeze over once we start seeing those puddles with the heavy rain that's happening for portions of town currently right now. So just keep those phones charged and stay off the roads and protect those exposed pipes if you haven't already, because we are expecting cooler conditions heading into the start of our week here. So looking at our 7-day forecast, we are expecting those conditions to remain mostly just bone-chilling cold as we head into Monday. Overnight lows are going to remain in the 30s and 20s at least through the next few days, but we will be under that weather impact alert into Monday because we will see that hard freeze criteria for us here across the Houston area, but expecting those temps to rebound back into the 50s heading into the middle of the week. But we're going to still remain cold and a little bit wet as we head into the next 12 to 24 hours. I just want to go ahead and look over at our Houston Transguard camera just on I-10 west of Katy before I end our live stream, but we are expecting it to look a little bit dicey in terms of the travel concerns. But looking at it right now, we are looking at I-10 west. This is really not showing much in terms of you saw that lightning. That is actually that thunder sleet that we've been talking about. So lots of travel concerns west of Houston. This is I-10 west of Houston, and not seeing any cars on those roadways right now, but I can only imagine is that we could start seeing more of those issues start trickling in closer to Houston as we progress within the next 30 minutes to an hour. So definitely we are tracking the latest for you, and we will be on KHOU 11 Plus here every hour. The next live stream would be at 4 a.m. as we progress through the morning, but definitely just as we look at the latest update, we are expecting those conditions to remain still rather wet, and we are about dropping to freezing here across the Houston area as we take a last look at that radar, especially out towards Tomball, even Bush Airport at 34, but we have to wait until that gets to 32. And if that happens, we will start seeing that freezing rain move closer towards our major highways and freeways here across the city of Houston. But it's just to the northwest of town where we're seeing more of that thunder sleet, as well as the possibility for more of those bridges and overpasses to start freezing over. And that's our latest update. That's what we're looking at now. We will give you continue to bring you continuous coverage through the next few hours. We will have our next update at 4 a.m. Again, I'm meteorologist Chris Ramirez with your latest update. What we're looking at now here across Southeast Texas. Have a